Garden Report is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
Hey, Brian Manning here. Celtics roll over the Wizards for the third time here in Washington, D.C. This is the Garden Report. Recapping the win and another important performance for Payton Pritchard, who dominated in this game off the bench alongside Sam Hauser, who made his return from a adductor strain that he suffered against the Grizzlies. Only missed one game thanks to some extra time off. In between games for the Celtics heading into this mini road trip. Al Horford rested this one as well. So Kristaps Porzingis starts, regular starting lineup for the Boston Celtics, and this game was tied 21-21, another solid first quarter, about 10 minutes in, that forced the Celtics to go to their bench unit for some more energy, some more consistency and effectiveness, and they got droves of three-point shooting off the bench from Pritchard and Hauser in particular. So this run of double-figure 20-point scoring from Pritchard of late continued here in this game. Wizards pulled within 9 in the third quarter, and he hit back-to-back threes that settled them. So he's been the driver of the offense, of greater stretches of sustained play on that end when the Celtics have slacked or started slow in some of these games. Whatever the issue is for the starters, the bench has solved it, led by Pritchard at different points this season. But he redirected the focus after the game to his defense. Here's what he had to say about becoming a better defender this season.
I mean, I really want to be known as a two-way player. You know, people like to, sometimes I see things that say I'm a defensive liability, and it irks me. And every game I go out and I try to prove that narrative wrong. And me trying to be a complete two-way player is something I'm always going to try to strive to be. If I can be known as an elite on-ball player and an elite offensive player, then yeah, that's a big goal of mine.
So it shows in the numbers. The Celtics are allowing, or he's allowing rather, under 47% shooting last I looked, which is way down from the start of the season where opponents were starting to beat him a little bit. Good plays in the passing lanes. I like when he's inside on a big and able to just jar the ball loose in there. And then in this game, you had a moment where he's picking up Jordan Poole full court throughout, and finally got this one possession about midway through the game where he's backing him up at half court, knocks the ball loose from him, and Poole called for a back court call, and you saw them going at it a little bit after that. Pritchard said that Poole stepped on his foot at one point, and there was just a lot of back and forth in that matchup. But really the matchup that both teams were looking at in terms of being able to pull this game out. Pritchard saving the Celtics again from a slower offensive stretch in the second half after Kristaps Porzingis went down, and Jordan Poole with Corey Kispert and Kyle Kuzma and Malcolm Brogdon out in this one, trying to carry the Wizards' offense against a daunting Celtics defense here in this one. And Pritchard prevailed again, looking on par with Poole as well as anything that the Wizards could throw at him. And with Jason Tatum shooting poorly in this game and Jaylen Brown way off from the field, they needed Pritchard's consistency, and Hauser's solid return, 4-9 three-point shooting from him in this game was a nice bonus as well. We talked to Pritchard this morning at length about a bunch of different stuff to begin this year. He said part of his off-season training, which obviously focused on pull-up three-point shooting, which we've seen him thrive at this year, also involved bringing some players from overseas, friends of him, together for camp back home, where he had all kinds of different types of defenders and players guarding him, which is also something that the Celtics have done at practice at points, starting last postseason, where sometimes they'll have all of their players try to guard Payton Pritchard one-on-one and have that be a drill, something that gets them going. They haven't done it often, Derrick White and Pritchard told me this morning, but he's tested going against a bunch of different defenses, a bunch of different styles of defenders, and that was part of the off-season progress or work that led him to this breakout start to the 2024-25 season that continued here in Washington. The Celtics will be back in action on Thursday against the Bulls, so he'll have a chance to continue his run after thrashing them in probably his best performance of the year, exploding in the fourth quarter to flip that game in Chicago last month, I believe it was, or earlier this month. So rematch for Pritchard against the Bulls, and his amazing start to this season that's continued to be the story of this young Celtics season continued here in a win over the Wizards. We're brought to you by Prize Picks. Go over there and use the code CLNS for a bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. Great Monday night football game coming up, as well as plenty of basketball action every night over there. And check out Game Time. Use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase over there. Terms apply. That's it from Washington, D.C. We have an update on Kristaps Porzingis, so go check out that video, as well as everything else going on Celtics All Access and CLNS Media. We'll see you back in Boston on Tuesday for a practice, but for now, I'm Bobby Manning, live from Washington, D.C. This has been the Garden Report.